When it comes to processors, there are a plethora of options available. However, if you're looking for something that offers both excellent value and beast-like performance, the Ryzen 7 2700X is a no-brainer. If you're a regular user, processors and motherboards are likely to be perplexing. However, if you hold your horses for a moment and read this article thoroughly, you'll be able to make an informed decision about your dream machine. Number 1. ASUS ROG Strix X470F. The ASUS ROG Strix X470F gaming motherboard will accommodate the Ryzen 7 2700X perfectly. This motherboard features an M4 chipset, which supports AMD's most recent processors. Because this motherboard's form factor is ATX, you'll need a little more room than you would for a smaller form factor. If we look inside the motherboard, we can see that it is packed with all the goodness we can think of. For starters, you get a lot of USB 3.2 ports, both Gen 1 and 2, and when combined with the Ryzen 7 2700X, the number increases even more. If you're a graphic designer or need to store large amounts of data in your computer for some reason, there are a couple of M2 slots available for installing the latest SSDs. Number 2. ASUS ROG Strix B350F Gaming. The ASUS ROG Strix B350F Gaming can easily handle Ryzen processors from the second generation. This motherboard uses the M4 socket and can accommodate up to 8 core processors. This marvel of a motherboard will easily fit into ATX cases. Apart from being able to handle the Ryzen 7 2700X with ease, this motherboard is jam-packed with high-quality components that will maximize your gaming experience. The total capacity supported by this motherboard is 64 GB, and you can install up to 4 memory sticks. It is important to remember that the memory units must be clocked at 3200 MHz. Furthermore, you can install a modern SSD in the M2 slot that is available. Number 3. GIGABYTE X470 Aorus Ultra Gaming. Choosing the right motherboard also depends on your future needs. The ATX form factor allows you to easily swap out components. The GIGABYTE X470 Aorus Ultra Gaming, our third recommendation, is an expensive but reliable match for your Ryzen 7 2700X. This motherboard is capable of supporting 4 DDR4 RAM modules at any frequency you can imagine. On the back of the board, there are 2 red USB 3.1 Gen 2 slots, 4 blue USB 3.1 Gen 1 slots, and 2 black USB 3.1 Gen 1 slots. Gamers love to take advantage of every available port, and if you're a newbie, you should keep future requirements in mind for future updates. The X470 comes with 4 fan headers to keep the system cool and running. Number 4. ASUS ROG Crosshair Roman 7 Hero Wi-Fi. The most important step is to select a motherboard for your device. However, you must first identify the best processor within your budget. The ASUS ROG Crosshair Roman 7 Hero allows you to cram as much hardware as you want into it without worrying about compatibility. It will work well with both the Ryzen 7 2700X and 3rd generation Ryzen processors. Looking at the specifications, you get an AMD X470 chipset and 4 DIMM slots, which can be used to install at least 64 GB of RAM in pairs. There are more than 10 USB ports on the back of this board, ranging from Type-A to Type-C and everything in between. Aorus RGB lighting is present inside this board for all RGB light lovers who enjoy optimizing their device with lights so you can enjoy your workstation even more. Number 5. MSI X470 Gaming Plus. Many tech companies produce motherboards. However, as you can see from this list, ASUS produces the best, so it wouldn't be incorrect to call it the best in the industry. The ASUS ROG Strix B450F Gaming is a cost-effective alternative to many more expensive options while also providing excellent quality. The M4 socket is included on this board, and it can also handle the latest 3rd generation Ryzen processors. Furthermore, if you take a look at the specifications, you'll notice that there are 4 slots for DDR4 RAM with speeds up to 3200 ms, with a maximum capacity of 128 GB. Although 128 GB is considered overkill and does nothing to improve performance, it isn't a bad option for people who like to keep their device for extended periods of time. Number 6. ASUS ROG Strix B450F Gaming. Many tech companies produce motherboards. However, as you can see from this list, ASUS produces the best, so it wouldn't be incorrect to call it the best in the industry. The ASUS ROG Strix B450F Gaming is a cost-effective alternative to many more expensive options while also providing excellent quality. The M4 socket is included on this board, and it can also handle the latest 3rd generation Ryzen processors. Furthermore, if you take a look at the specifications, you'll notice that there are 4 slots for DDR4 RAM with speeds up to 3200 ms, with a maximum capacity of 128 GB. Although 128 GB is considered overkill and does nothing to improve performance, it isn't a bad option for people who like to keep their device for extended periods of time. Number 7. MSI Arsenal B450 Tomahawk Max. The MSI Arsenal B450 Tomahawk Max is another board worth considering. This board isn't cheap, but there's a lot to like about it. You have the M4 socket, which allows you to easily install the latest AMD 8-core processors. There are 4 DIMM slots in total, and you can use DDR4 RAM with a speed of up to 4133 MHz, which is a good number if you like to overclock your machine. The military-style aesthetics of this board make it look premium. Moreover, there's an extended heatsink inside for better thermal performance, even if you're pushing the beast to its boundaries. There's a Turbo M2 slot for your NVMe SSD, and it will pull out sheer performance too. There are 6 audio jacks at the back of the board, and Realtek powers the audio chipset. When it comes to USB ports, you get a fusion of the latest generation and old ones at the back of the board. Number 8. GIGABYTE B450 NDS3H. The GIGABYTE B450 NDS3H is a micro ATX motherboard that fits easily under your workstation for those who want something small. Despite its modest size, it is packed with features and costs less than $100. Because it has the latest M4 socket, you can easily match it with the Ryzen 7 2700X. On the board, there is one 3rd generation PCIe slot, which can be used to install the latest NVMe SSD. There are also 4 DDR4 RAM slots on the board, which can accommodate RAM sticks with a clock speed of up to 3200 MHz. You can also use RGB LED strips in 7 different colors on the board, which you can change at any time. There are 4 SATA ports with a 6 Gbps transfer rate. At the back of the device, there are 3 audio jacks, and the audio chipset is tuned by Realtek.